Hi there. Are you stuck in a loop of repeating patterns? Have you recognized that there are some things that you do over and over again, but you are not quite able to get yourself out of there? Then you're not alone. Hi, my name is Marie, and I'm so happy that you're here. And I welcome you to this channel if you're new. And if you have been here for a little bit, then welcome back. I'm so excited to see you. Something happened to me last night that really kind of helped me realize that, oh, this is something that I should share, because if it's happening to me, it's happening to you. And a lot of times it's helpful to hear someone else say something to kind of shake us up and be like, oh, wow, yeah, that is happening to me. So what I realized is we're all stuck in these loop patterns of maybe thoughts, maybe behaviors, maybe emotions. So how do we get out of them is the key. So what happened to me last night is I was going through a pattern that I do a lot of times at night. I was getting a little bit upset and anxious because everybody was like not really going to bed, right? And then I start to feel myself getting more and more tired, and I say, oh, okay, now everybody has to go to bed, all this stuff, right? And I work myself up. And all of a sudden, my daughter looked at me, who's 11 years old, and she's like, Mom, you're stuck in a loop now. And I was like, oh, wow, she's right, right? And that's, she helped me recognize the loop at that moment. And I stepped back and I said, oh, wow, you're right. I'm right here stuck in a loop. Sometimes in your life, you might not have that daughter or that friend to tell you that, oh, you're repeating the cycle again. But we can still recognize our own cycles. And so what can we do about that when we are in that cycle? I would say my number one tip for that in recognition is to actually recognize it, right? To say, wait a minute, I'm observing this pattern happening in me again. How can I consciously stay here in awareness why this pattern is repeating itself? How can I, even if I can't stop it, how can I just observe it play out? And how can I keep my level of consciousness so high while it's happening that I can actually be both the person who's observing it and the person who's engaged with it? That, I would say, is the absolute most important thing. For myself, I do that when I get angry. So for me, anger goes straight up really fast, and before I know it, I'm reacting. What I've been doing for many years now is observing myself during that anger and noticing, whoop, there it came. Now I'm saying this, now I'm doing this, and here it's subsiding, right? So observing that difficult emotion as it's happening, that's a really great first pointer, I would say. Number two, try to get yourself out of that loop somehow by changing something. Maybe there's something practical that you can do to change that. So for example, let's say you get really sad when you watch animals suffer, right? Maybe for a little bit while you're working through this, don't watch videos where animals are suffering. Like, that's a very practical thing that you can do, right? You can say, I'm going to remove myself from the situation for a little bit because I see how it's affecting me every time. And maybe I just need to kind of look inward and say, what is it that's hurting me so much? Obviously, animals being hurt is awful, and I'm not saying that, but what is it that's triggering in me so much? Maybe I have an old memory, a childhood memory, or something that's constantly triggering me when this is happening. So go inward is my second tip, right? Actually start to practically remove yourself from the situation and then go inwards. And then my third tip is going to be something that my daughter said last night, is humans like soft things. And I looked at her and I was like, whoa, okay. And she started continuing explaining that if you have something that's soft around you, maybe a squishy toy, which she has obviously, or a cat or a dog or a really soft pillow or some other material that you can kind of rub or squeeze, that actually what it does is it gives you another sensory input into your system. Your hand is touching that, which calms you down. So that starts to override your emotion. You're like, oh, this feels nice, right? You're sort of, how should I say, hijacking your own system a little bit to calm it down, So just to calm it down. So those are my 3 tips for you. Observe, practically remove yourself and go inwards, and touch something soft. I also lastly just want to say that my daughter truly is my master, because in this, she just pointed out what I did and offered a solution, which isn't that wonderful? You know, for someone to be 11 years old and actually have that insight. And I believe she's truly from the next generation of children that are entering into this world. And it gives me so much hope for our future, because that level of regulation that she has, in some instances, maybe others not, and wisdom, I don't think I had as an 11-year-old, or maybe I did and I forgot now, right? But it's just so beautiful that our children and, you know, children all around us have this beautiful new gift with them that allows them to be helpful, to help us, the older generation, to learn, relearn, remember these things, right? How we used to be and how we used to do it. If you have similar experiences with your child maybe, or nephew, or a younger friend who gave you this amazing insight on how to help you a little bit, I would love to see your comments below, because this really kind of prompted me into. And also, if you have comments about, you know, the new children of the new earth, I would also be really interested in communicating with you, because I think that's so super fascinating and so amazing what's actually happening here now. And if you have emotions that are able to be regulated through the steps that I told you about, or if you've been doing this for many years and it's been working for you, let me know also. It's so much fun to interact with you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I send you all of my love. Namaste.